Thank you for co-hosting yesterday, Lisa. It was a really fascinating discussion around embracing age diversity and how you manage multi-generational teams in the workforce. There's obviously a few people who couldn't join us yesterday, so for the benefit of them, did you want to give us a quick introduction to yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you for having me yesterday. It was great discussion with everyone who could make it. So I'm Lisa, I'm an executive coach, and I've got a master's in psychology. I'm also a parent coach, which sounds like a bit of an eclectic mix, but the kind of common denominator there is around age diversity and helping people of different ages and generations connect more effectively together.
Fantastic. And I guess just a quick overview, what was yesterday's event all about?
So yesterday was really about how to make the most of multi-generational teams in the workplace. So how to help all employees feel motivated and engaged regardless of whatever their age is. So we were really deep diving into some of the differences that people might notice in terms of different generations in the workplace, but also some of the commonalities and how we can help build those connections where there's a big spread of ages.
Fantastic, and obviously a really important discussion now as well, as that world of work has changed slightly over the last few years. Sort of building on that then, so why is this an important conversation right now?
Yeah, it's so important at the minute because there could be up to 4 to 5 different generations in the workplace right now. People are working later, and also you've got lots of people joining maybe straight from school, and so you've got maybe 16 to people in their maybe in their 80s in the workforce. And people do have different needs and expectations, albeit that as humans we are similar in more ways than we are different. There are different needs and expectations in different cohorts of people coming through. I think a really interesting point that came out of the discussion yesterday was that we need to hold these generational labels quite lightly. So we don't want to kind of embed any stereotypes or make any assumptions about people, but actually what social psychology does tell us is that the social and economic circumstances which we grow up in do shape our worldviews. And if we can build different understanding as to what those worldviews are amongst different members of the team, it really helps to build connection amongst those. Another reason why it's so important is there's a concept called cognitive diversity, which is all about bringing different perspectives together around the table. So if you've got a business problem, actually the solution will be richer if you can engage with lots of different stakeholders with lots of different viewpoints. So if you've got a multi-generational team, actually that's a real source of power because you'll be able to harness all the different perspectives and ideas that you've got to come to something that's kind of innovative and maybe challenges the status quo, but is still workable within the business. So lots of opportunities there in getting age diversity right.
Absolutely, it's a big topic, and to be honest, we could only really start to scratch the surface yesterday. I guess from that discussion yesterday, if there's one thing you could leave as maybe a food for thought for our members, what would that be?
Yeah, so I think the needs and expectations of the workforce generally are changing post-COVID. I think lots of people are reevaluating, but I am seeing some specific changes in terms of people coming into the workforce maybe for the first time. So if leaders were to think about a couple of areas to really understand where those generational differences might be within their teams, I would suggest thinking about leadership styles. So when I did some research on generational differences, I found that actually the members of the team that are just coming into the workplace now, so broadly under 25s, place a lot more store on empathy and human connection and leaders showing their authentic human side. Whereas people who have been in the business longer placed more emphasis on being inspiring and being organised and being knowledgeable. So we need to make sure that our leadership styles are catering for everybody in the business and making sure that leaders feel comfortable to be their human self, which is particularly important for the new cohort coming through. I think the other area that came through in particular that resonated out of the discussion yesterday was the importance of career progression. So that's true for everybody in the business, but actually for people who are coming into businesses who want challenge and want to move quite quickly through the ranks. It's about really plotting out for them, giving them some sense of autonomy and saying what their career might look like so that they have a sense of the fact that where they might be able to go in the business and really see that progression. So there are a couple of areas where specific generational differences have come up that it's probably worth leaders just digging in and checking that they're meeting the needs and expectations of everyone, regardless of age.
Fascinating and an absolutely brilliant session yesterday. And thank you so much for being part of it and all your time. It's a pleasure to have you as our guest at the CDO Hub. We're obviously going to be back next month with our next global CDO Hub event on the 14th of June at 4 p.m. BST and 11 a.m. EDT. And we also have our next in-person event in London on the 14th of June at 6 p.m. Thank you again, Lisa.
Great, thank you very much.